It was one of the windows of the jail. The cell was vacant. There was a forlorn-looking guy asleep on the floor of the jail. It was Miguel, the pipe player. Hey, Miguel! He didn't hear me. It was that suspect archaeologist, Ubier. Professor Ubier?
Yes? Who are you?
My name is Stobart. George Stobart.
I thought that face was familiar. Remember me, George? Dwayne Henderson.
Hi, Dwayne. Just a moment. I have a few questions to ask the professor here. Take a look at this, Professor. What have you got to say about that?
Where did you get this?
Never mind that. How do you explain these withdrawals?
I left my financial affairs in the hands of my secretary.
Including the withdrawal of funds in cash from your personal account?
I trust Gwyneth implicitly.
And why Marseille? Why the very place my girlfriend was taken?
That's obvious, Stobart. We are both the victims of the same devious plot.
What plot?
I have no idea.
Do you know anything about this eclipse, Professor?
Of course. It's not the reason I'm here in Quaramonte, but I'm looking forward to seeing it all the same.
Do you see this label?
Yes. It refers to a company named Condor. What of it?
I traced that company here, to Quaramonte. Do you know where I can find the offices of Condor Transglobal?
The company no longer exists. They went bankrupt recently.
I have proof that you are directly involved with Condor.
I used them as shippers to transport artifacts to a gallery in Paris. Beyond that, I have no connection with the company, which, as I said, no longer exists.
Can you identify this statue, Professor?
Oh, yes. Tezcatlipoca, the Lord of Darkness.
A Central American god, right?
A supreme deity. Tezcatlipoca means, literally, smoking mirror. There. You see the mirror shield in his left hand? The Mayans believed he could look into the mirror and see into the hearts of men. He was the wind which came howling in the night in search of victims. And victims they gave him by the thousand.
Human sacrifices?
Men, women, children, animals, anything that bled. The steps of his temple ran red with the blood of sacrifices. The Mayans have a legend that says he'll return one day. I hope I'm not around to see it.
Can you tell me anything about this stone?
Where did you get that?
This is the stone my girlfriend called you about. The stone that nearly cost Nico her life.
I assure you, I don't know what you're talking about.
Would you like a biscuit?
No, thank you.
You should, they're good. I can't get enough of these things. Have you ever employed a Central American butler or servant?
I've never employed any kind of servant, monsieur.
What are you doing in Quaramonte, Professor?
Seeking Mayan artifacts. Central American history has been my life's work.
What do you know about my girlfriend's abduction?
I don't know what you're talking about.
She was invited to your mansion in Paris.
Not by me, she wasn't. I haven't been home for nearly 7 months.
Tell me about your wife, Professor.
Please, I don't want to talk about her.
You shot her, didn't you?
No! I loved Carol. She meant the world to me.
Does the name Karzak mean anything to you?
Yes, I know him. In fact, if it wasn't for Karzak, I wouldn't be here.
What?
He's financing my expedition.
What's your interest in the eclipse, Professor?
Oh, it's purely a layman's curiosity. History's my subject, not astronomy. But I've been fascinated by the movements of the heavenly bodies since I was a child. I wouldn't miss a total eclipse for the world.
Does the eclipse have some special significance for you?
For me? No. For the ancient Mayans, it marked the end of the 5th age.
Perhaps we should be celebrating.
Ah, no. The end of each age heralds destruction on a global scale. The 5th is the final age, ending in the total destruction of the Earth.
It was Pearl's husband, Dwayne. What do you think of these panties, Dwayne?
Lord, hot stuff, George. You buy those for your girl?
No, a guy we knew in Paris bought them for her.
Oh, you're a threesome then. Why are you looking at me like that, George?
Forget it. Do you know anything about a shipping company called Condor Transglobal?
I never heard of it, son.
Would you like to borrow my lucky piece of coal, Dwayne?
What's so lucky about it?
Well, we made it to Quaramonte in one piece.
When you've been here a few days, you won't look on that as luck.
Would you like a biscuit, Dwayne?
Oh no, those gourmet dog snacks bring me out in a rash.
You've tried them?
They were on special offer. Pearl bought a whole crate. When I asked her if she was thinking of keeping a dog too, she just laughed.
Did you drive all the way down here?
Hell no. Pearl did the driving while I followed the maps. The way she handled the wheel, you'd think she'd been trucking half her life.
What's in the truck, Dwayne?
Oh, just camping equipment. Sleeping bags and tents. Me and Pearl always hankered after a taste of the great outdoors.
Aren't you worried about camping out in a tropical jungle?
We had a trial run in West Virginia. This'll be a breeze in comparison.
I spoke to Pearl earlier.
Yeah? Did she mention that we had a kind of falling out?
Yes, she did.
She'll get over it.
Did you know that traditional music is illegal in Caramonte?
Is that so? Seems reasonable to me.
No, really. The leader of the band in the square has been in prison just because of the music he played.
I don't know who you've been talking to, but that fella, Miguel, he's an agitator.
What's the real reason the musician was in prison?
Handed out subversive literature at the mines. That so-called general was waiting for Miguel when he got back into town. Marched him off to jail at gunpoint on a charge of inciting a riot.
Does the name Karzak mean anything to you?
Sounds like a comic book villain to me, son.
He's the man behind Condor, and the rat who kidnapped Nico.
You know, the first time I met you, I was deeply impressed with your naive simplicity. I said to Pearl, if we ever had kids, I would have wanted a boy like George. But I underestimated you, son.
Do you think the general was involved with Condor?
Hell no. And if he's a general, I'm a Buddhist. No, that fella's just a mouthpiece for the real power in Quaramonte.
So the general is nothing but a puppet?
He's like Pinocchio before he met the Blue Rinse Fairy. Strictly strings and wood.
Who's pulling the strings?
His mother. Better known as La Presidenta, the dictator.
Are you still working for... you know who?
Who's that, George? You know I'm retired.
Oh, nothing. Forget it. I confused you with somebody else.
Oh, I do that all the time.
He was a friendly-looking guy. Hi, I'm George Stobart. What do you think of these panties?
Awesome. You wear them?
No, someone sent them to my girlfriend.
Thoughtful.
Have you heard about the eclipse of the sun?
Sure, I'm having a party to celebrate it. Drop by.
Really?
Sure. Plenty of food, plenty of wine, and everyone's invited, except the general.
Do you recognize the design on this label?
Why, sure. That's the Condor Transglobal Shipping Company logo.
Do they have an office in Quaramonte?
No, but they ship out from here.
That's what I thought. Why don't you want the general at your party?
Because if he comes, he'll bring those damned music albums from the 70s.
Did you see the ship with the condor flag?
No.
But the dock is just the other side of the square.
Might as well be the other side of the moon. I can't walk. Lost my legs in the explosion at the mine.
Hey, I'm sorry. What can you tell me about the mining company?
They treated me pretty fair. I received compensation for the accident.
Can you tell me anything about this stone?
That's obsidian. It's a volcanic rock which has cooled so fast that...
Yeah, look, I'm not interested in geology.
You're not? I suppose you want to know about the carved picture on it.
That's right.
Then the guy you should talk to is the professor. He's over there, talking to the bozo in the truck.
Do you know what this statue represents?
Should do. I used to carve things like that to sell to tourists. But it scared people around here, so I stopped.
I hear you drove all the way to Quaramonte. In a truck.
That's right. You would not believe the state of some of those roads. Makes me downright sad to think there's still some places you can't reach in an automobile. In this day and age, you'd think there'd be decent highways just about anywhere folk choose to go.
Have you met the guy who calls himself the General?
No, I haven't. Is he a real general?
I guess so. He wears a lot of medals on his chest. The wrong side of his chest. At least for any army I'd ever seen. Catch you later, Pearl.